As I was knocking, her neighbor came out and looked at me with piercing eyes. I thought, creepy old lady. She kept glancing at me while walking faster and faster towards the elevator. Weird, I thought. But this is New York City. It's normal to be weird here. Finally, the door opened and she greeted me with a warm smile. She said to come in, that she will be ready in a minute. I sat on the couch and she handed me a beer. I turned my head around to see her changing. Now I have three choices. The gentleman way is to look away. The pervert way is to keep looking. And there's a third. There's always a third. If she doesn't know that I'm looking, how can I be a pervert? So I did choose the right way. I looked without her noticing. Her curves are tantalizing, but I noticed several bruises. Some people are naturally clumsy. I thought nothing of it. I don't think I've ever had a beer this strong. I was already feeling buzzed after drinking half the bottle. My body slowly became numb, but I have lost most of my strength. The lights went out. From the couch, I looked out her window and I noticed that the other building still had electricity. Maybe it's faulty wirings in this old building. Or maybe she forgot to pay her electric bill. We all have problems, and I'm not one to judge. Unable to fully move, I called out to her. There was no response. I called out to her again. There was no response. I turned my head towards her bedroom door. It was pitch black inside. I couldn't see a thing. Although the door was only slightly open, I could swear there was no one in there. A shiver went down my spine. Something was very wrong, and my instinct was telling me to leave. I used the edge of the couch for balance as I make my way to the door. With wobbly legs, I managed to reach the door. Having the door opened halfway, with half of my body already outside, I looked around. The hallway was pitch black. I turned my head and called for her again. Elmira? The bedroom door creaked open slowly, wider and wider. On the far side of the room, I saw a figure looking at me with intense hatred. Next was an ear-piercing loud shriek coming from her room, and a strong gust of wind knocked me down, away from the door and into the dark hallway. I lost consciousness. I woke up because of a sharp pain on my shoulder. I wasn't in my apartment. I jolted up and looked around. The creepy old lady who was staring at me emerged from a room. Slightly dazed and confused, I asked where I was and how I got here. She explained. She saw me knocking on apartment 87, and she was confused as to why I would be knocking on an empty apartment. Nobody has lived there for 3 years. Ever since that thing happened, a beautiful woman used to live there, but she was in an abusive relationship with her drug-induced boyfriend. He usually beats her on a daily basis, but he would never hit her face. Until one day, he accused her of having an affair and killed her. Everyone heard it, but nobody wanted to get involved. He mutilated her body. After people complained about the smell, nothing was found in the apartment. It was like she just vanished. I couldn't believe her story. I left her apartment and took the train to the diner, where I saw Elmira worked. Out of breath, I asked the lady behind the counter if there was an Elmira who works there. She said there was, 3 years ago, but Elmira never returned for her shift. Living in New York City most of my life, I've developed friendship with all kinds of people from different walks of life. I called a friend from the police department and asked him for information about the disappearance of Elmira. There was nothing to say. There was nothing suspicious found. By the time the police was called in to check the apartment, the smell was gone. It seems that she just vanished. Frustrated, I returned home. I'm still trying to find an explanation on how I ended up in the old lady's place after eating and drinking a beer. I tried to put it away from my head. I went to the liquor store to buy some whiskey, and hopefully it will bring a dreamless sleep. After several hours of drinking, I was dozing off on the couch. I managed to drag myself to my bed and finally fell asleep. Before my vision blurred completely, I looked at my clock and it said 11:59 p.m. I woke up wanting to go to the bathroom. A few hours later, I rolled over and looked around. I'm not in my room. Whose room am I in? It's cold and dark, and the light switch doesn't work. There's a pungent smell in the air. I tried to open the door, but the handle wouldn't budge. I jiggled it and pulled it, but nothing happened. I tried kicking the door, but I felt very weak. The darkness in the room was getting thicker, that whatever shape I could see was slowly disappearing. A familiar shiver ran down my spine, and I felt my muscles tremble in fear of what's coming next. I started moving my foot around in the dark, hoping for something to hold on to. My foot hit a piece of rock about the size of my fist when I grabbed it. My breathing was short and fast. My heart was beating so fast. I struggled to look in front of me, hoping to see something that will comfort me. Instead, I see a pair of eyes staring at me. I threw the rock directly at it. A loud thud as the rock hit against the wall. A small light escaped into the room from the gap on the window. I saw that the rock made a hole in the wall. I couldn't move. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. It was her. It was Elmira inside the wall. The door suddenly flung open and I ran out of the apartment. Wearing only my shorts and a shirt, I ran to the police station. The police came back with me and assured me that her body would be taken care of, that her family would be contacted. I heard they caught her boyfriend, and he's facing a life sentence. Everything was back to normal. My life was back to its dullness. It's been a long week, and finally, it's Friday night. And because my boss thought I needed to rest, I was given Saturday and Sunday off. Tonight, I'll party it up with my friends. I arrived home and dressed up for the club, and my coworker picked me up. What a great night it has been. Met new friends and had fun with old friends. I closed my eyes with a smile on my face. And suddenly, I felt a chill and my body shivered. Darkness all around me. Am I dreaming? No, I'm not. Cold and clammy fingers around my neck. I heard a whisper close to my ear. You wanted me to love you. You wanted me only for you. You became obsessed. You stalked me. You humiliated me. You raped me. You murdered me. Elmira. I guess I wasn't entirely honest, was I?